Hey, what's happening, family? It's your man, Mark Black. You know what time it is. Happy Hump Day to all of you. Welcome to the broadcast. I know it's been a minute, and don't worry, I'm gonna explain. But before we do that, let's get the house cleaning stuff done out of the way. First of all, fam, make sure you smash the thumbs, whether it's the like or hater button. Doesn't make me no never mind. Express yourself, all right? Make sure you check the links down below in the description of every video. There's resources, reports, all sorts of stuff, and new stuff is going to be coming in shortly. So if you haven't been paying attention, if you think, oh, it's always the same shit, Mark Black's about to change it up on you, because starting from today, moving forward, we're going to be on some different shit. All right. So before we get into it, though, as always, let me greet the family. Let me greet the angry black sheep. Engaging Black is in the house. Darker Visions, I know it's going to show up, so I'm giving early greetings to Darker Visions. Brother Best is in the house. Brother Lionel is in the house. Welcome to the broadcast. DJ J Blue, it's good to see you, fam. It's been too long. Brother Black Man, what it do? Miss Denny is in the house. Adreek is in the house. Let's get to it, fam. So today we are going to be discussing something that has been long overdue, fam, and that is the reboot, the remix. Me, I am. Hello, welcome to the broadcast and happy Hump Day to you. Yeah, fam, I had to let it go. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't that I didn't like it or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. Whenever I make mental changes, I usually tend to make physical ones, right? And as all of you angry black sheep know, we've been some angry motherfuckers over the last few weeks since the election, right? Because I gotta admit, right, in the spirit of true confessions, that seeing just how far down into the mental nothing a lot of our people seem to be when it comes to politics. And without there being very many voices to express any alternatives, this shit is frustrating, right? I can imagine that there's been quite a few different activists of all types that took a look at that election result and was just like, man, fuck this shit. And you know what? To be fair, I don't blame them, right? I was on the verge. I was definitely on the verge. Like John said, angry is my middle name. Mark Angry Black. So I'm always angry, but this was a whole next level of this shit. Brother AJ, what's good, fam? Yeah, I had to shave, man. I had to renew. I had to refresh, man. You know what I'm saying? I use clippers because them razors will fuck your face up if you're a black man. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I'm cool. I took the clippers to it and got that shit off. Because I wanted y'all to see my face clear. I wanted to just refresh, renew, reboot. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, is the reboot. Now, what do I mean by the reboot, fam? Just like when you're on a computer, right? And you're doing your shit on your computer, and the mouse isn't moving right, you know, characters is missing, shit freezing up on you, you can't seem to get any progress. In order to move forward, you need a reboot. You need to shut the system down and reboot the whole damn thing. And the discussion about the necessary reboot, fam, is more important today than it's ever been. By the way, shout out to my esteemed brother Morpheus Unplugged. I'm definitely glad to see you, fam. Happy Hump Day to you and welcome to the broadcast. You see, fam, I need you to understand that the reboot has more power than you can possibly imagine, which is precisely why every 2 years, every 4 years, if you're a president or vice presidential candidate, or every 6 years as a senator, the system tries to pretend that it's a renewal, a reboot. It's not the same government it was 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 6 years ago. It's supposed to be a brand new one. But if we've learned nothing else from this recent election, is that at this particular point, it doesn't really fucking matter who they put in there. At least for us, the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States, it really doesn't matter what candidate is put forward. Now, I know in the larger scheme of things, right, one could argue that these people have a direct effect upon our lives, and so we should not neglect our responsibility in understanding who they are and dealing with them accordingly. And I would agree. But the same argument could be made that to continue to play this game, to continue to give our imprimatur, right, our permission of sorts, to the same old process that we know does not deliver any renewal, any refreshing, any restart, reboot of the system, is not only useless. As you all know, I am a strong advocate of political action, right? Strong advocate. I have been since I started this channel, and I will continue to be even after today. By the way, shout out to Sister Joan. I see you, sis. Welcome to the broadcast. But I want those of you who were angry at this last election to understand one very important thing. This election was not the end-all be-all of our opportunity to be able to do the necessary things in order to further the goals of justice, of liberation, of peace, of protection for us and our people. I would even argue that at the end of the day, addressing Joe Biden and all of them is really next to useless. At the end of the day, this system is going to continue to pretend to operate like it's doing something. But we all see the cracks. Part of the reason why we're all angry, fam, is because we see the cracks. We see that this government tells us that it serves us, that it works for us, yet it never listens to us. From the lowest all the way up to the highest levels of it. That doesn't mean government's necessarily bad, but it means that we have a bad one. Our government tells us to sacrifice, to give, and yet gives us nothing to allow us to be able to do that. Shout out, by the way, to my sisters Sherry and Sister Strongflower. Happy Hump Day to both of you. Welcome to the broadcast. This government literally gave you and I, some of us anyway, 1,200 funky ass dollars while telling us to close our businesses, close our churches, close our jobs, stay in place, shelter in place, work from home. Other countries did that. And even though they're in a pretty similar boat now with the surge of coronavirus cases, they're in a better position to be able to address them than we are. They got people that, although they're fatigued, they're tired of this struggle, this fight against COVID, still understand that they have the capability, the means to be able to do it. I'm glad to be back, Sister Strongflower. I needed some time off. I'm just keeping it real with you. Just a personal side before we get into the topic, fam. I just needed some head space. The frustration, fam, is misdirected anger. It's good for us as black sheep to be angrier than a motherfucker. Don't ever lose that emotional rocket fuel. But the problem isn't our anger. The problem is understanding where it needs to be directed. And it is all too easy, fam, to lose sight of where you need to point that bow before you release that arrow. Sister Sherry, all is well with me. And hopefully after today, all, if not well, will soon be getting in that direction, to be trending in that direction. Because family, we are going to remember where to place our anger and thus where to place our efforts. Miss Kawami is in the house, my beloved sister. Welcome, Miss Kawami. It is good to see you. Peace and happy hump day to you. Fam, I'm going to lay a lot of shit out on the table today because I realize that in order for us to move forward, I have to be as completely honest with all of you as possible. Now, that is not to say that I have not been honest with you. Mark Black won't even get on here and do a broadcast if I'm not telling you the straight dope. But I realize that there's some additional information that perhaps I might need to share with you about my points of view, about my politics, about other things, right? So that understanding me helps you to understand my positions and understand why I advocate the things that I advocate. First of all, family, for those of you who are not aware of it, politically and philosophically speaking, for the most part, I am what you would refer to as an anarchist. Now, what is an anarchist, right? Because you hear Trump talking about anarchist jurisdictions, which, by the way, if you're an anarchist, will crack you the fuck up. Like, I won't lie, fam. I was dying. I was like, anarchist jurisdiction? I was like, you're using the word, but I don't think it means what you think it means. I was cracking up, fam. An anarchist is a person that believes, ultimately, that no human being can be trusted with power over other human beings. And thus, power needs to devolve to the lowest level, which means that each of us need to be equal in power. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean equal in ability, right? I'm taller than maybe Sister Strongflower, right? She might be stronger than your man, right? Okay, cool. That doesn't mean equal in ability. What it means, though, is that regardless of our ability, there is an inherent human dignity that we both share, which gives us a degree of power that we're able to exercise in our interactions with other human beings. Shout out to my brother Big Unk. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Yeah, Sister Strongflower, damn. I was watching some shit today. I don't know how many of you keep up on climate change, you know, and the whole climate change thing. I'm not talking about the conspiracy theory shit. Climate change is real, right? So fuck your conspiracy theories. But I don't know how many of you keep up on the science. But recently, in Siberia, where the Arctic sea ice starts to form every year, they've measured in some places hundreds of times the release of methane gas from the Siberian permafrost than normal. And you're thinking, methane gas? Well, what the fuck? I mean, like, why is that a big deal? Fam, they tell you that carbon dioxide, right, CO2, is greenhouse gas, and it increases the temperature of the environment because it holds in the heat via infrared that we see from the sun, right? The sun sends in heavy UV, and then it hits the Earth's surface and it transforms into infrared. And normally, if there was a good balance, we take in just about as much heat and release it back out into space as we would normally, right? However, because of the extensive amount of CO2 in the environment, we're letting out less heat. The atmosphere is acting more like a blanket and it's keeping the heat in. But as effective of a greenhouse gas as carbon dioxide, as CO2 is, methane can be almost 100 times more potent of a greenhouse gas, at least in a shorter term period, than CO2 ever could be. And what we're seeing now, when I get the reports on the shit, if you're interested, I can do a broadcast. We can discuss the whole thing. Because, right, I believe in us looking at the data, right, looking at the information. But what the preliminary data suggests is we may have crossed the tipping point beyond which we may see large releases of methane gas into the atmosphere. And family, if that happens, even the current temperature predictions that they're saying the atmosphere is going to go up to, and thus the global climate, scratch those. It'll be even worse, and it'll happen even faster. Methane is no joke. Right now, methane covers the bottom of the oceans in a form of ice called clathrates, methane clathrates. And it also is locked into the biological material that makes up the permafrost. Well, when that permafrost starts to thaw, that biological material that was trapped in the permafrost begins to rot, and it creates and generates methane gas. And that's what we're seeing happening now over in Siberia. That's a fucking problem. Of course, your mainstream, pale stream media ain't gonna fucking talk about it. Because they got other shit they want you to focus on, right? They don't want you to focus on the need for a complete reboot. Or if they do mention a reboot, a reset, they want to reset things, but on their terms, right? They talk about things like universal currencies and UBIs, embracing automation and all this other shit, and the fourth industrial revolution. Don't take my word for it, of course, fam. As always, your brother Black wants you to get the information and research it for yourself. Look up the Great Reset. Look at the World Economic Forum and the meetings that they're having around that shit. Oh, they understand that the current path that we're on is completely unsustainable. Politically, economically, financially, mentally, emotionally, the whole 9 yards. But they want to reset to where they can continue to maintain power. And we, as the people, need to understand the anarchist point of view. No human being can be trusted to rule over other human beings. More importantly, over enough time, every group of human beings will refuse to be ruled. Now, that is not to say that I'm against laws or rules, if you will. I'm not. As an anarchist, if you come into my house, I got certain rules. When you're in my house, you operate under my rules. Now, when you leave my house, I don't give a fuck what you do. You're an adult. As long as you're not hurting me or hurting anybody around me or whatever the case may be, have at it, hoss. As an anarchist, I wouldn't give a fuck if you walk down the street butt ass naked. What does you being nude walking down the street do to me? Nothing. I don't have to like it. I'm not trying to make the world perfect. I'm trying to understand and accept what it is that makes us human and allow that to be expressed in its fullest fashion. And you can't do that when you got certain people in bondage, when you got people dictating terms to other people. The only way a society truly works is when it's voluntary. There ain't no pleasure, fam, in saying yes if you cannot say no. By the way, shout out to Trey Legal. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. It has been long past time for us to understand that there are other options on the table other than just voting for whatever fucked up ass candidate that these bastards throw at us every 2 years or every 4 years or every 6 years. You and I, right now, today, can start to build those alternatives. It is time for us to understand what is needed to reboot the whole fucking thing. Because this thing cannot work if we don't all buy in. The moment that we all start discussing our own reboot, our own reset of this shit in a way that makes it work for us as people, that makes it work for every people, now the powers that be got a fucking problem. Because as that message starts to propagate and people see, wait a minute, This fucking politician is nothing but an asshole in a Brooks Brothers suit. Why do I need to listen to him? Why do I even give a fuck what he's talking about? Now they got a problem. But look at where the power goes. The power goes from the hands of the few into the hands of the many. By me empowering you, and you empowering me, and you giving the best of what you have available to me, and the same from me to you. That allows us to be able to completely overturn their bullshit system. By the way, Queen Jet Black, you know I see you. Welcome to the broadcast, sis. I just wanted to make a point. You know I'm not going to miss you. So, fam, today we are going to start the ongoing, because this isn't a one and done. That's not how we do things over here at Black Outcast Media. We don't do one and dones, right? This is going to be an ongoing thing. Today, we start the discussion and the planning toward a reboot. So now, there are three things that I want to mention in this broadcast today. The three preliminary things that I think that we all need to understand. I would say suggestions for action. So before we even start making moves, these are ideas or premises that we need to have in our heads in order to be able to move effectively towards the necessary reboot that we all need. Sister Kimberly is in the house. By the way, shout out to all the supporting members of the channel. Sister Kimberly is one. Fam, if you haven't done so, consider becoming a supporting member of the channel. Again, I understand money's tight. Don't feel no pressure, no obligation. But if you can call it, there's a few different tiers down there. Check the one that suits your interests and suits your needs and support Black media. I appreciate you. The first thing that we need to have in place is we need to have the right mindset for a reboot. Now, I'm going to introduce a word into many of your lexicons because I don't think this word gets enough play. And that word, fam, is fatalism. 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 Now, fatalism comes in various flavors. For example, I, Mark Black, your brother and one who loves you, am a racial fatalist. Now, what does this mean? Well, this means essentially that all the shit everybody is saying that they want from a battle against racism, I don't think is going to happen. I don't think white folks are ever in the main going to love us generally. I don't think that white America, their acolytes, pets of Caucasians, and so on and so forth, will ever see our interests in theirs, in the main. There'll be always exceptions, right? There's good white folk out there, but what I'm saying is that you are a fool to wait around for something to come along and end racism. It's not going to happen. It is not going to happen. I am a racial fatalist. I don't believe that white folks will ever give up racism until they have no other option, until they have nothing else that they can do except to give it up. They will ride this racist train right off the motherfucking cliff. And the sooner that many of us start to adopt a more fatalistic attitude, the quicker that we'll start looking for alternatives. And the reason why fatalism is so important, is so key for the reboot, fam, is because how are you going to reboot something you think works? Go ahead, I'll wait. Your mouse ain't moving. The computer's smoking. You got dead pixels on the screen. But you're sitting there thinking everything's fine. Why would you even think to reboot your system? Why would you think to restart the shit? Fatalism requires understanding the reality of matters, not what you want to see happen, not what you hope to see happen. Because if you remember back in 2008, 2012, and so on and so forth, we bought into hope and change. Barack Obama sold us hope and change. He said, stick with me, give me your hope, and I will bring you change. We, millions of us, gave him our hopes and dreams. We were so eager to trade hope for change that we identified this man as one of us, even though it was clear from his upbringing and everything else that he was never one of us. We gave him a motherfucking pass. Diverse, it was time for a change, fam. By the way, welcome to the broadcast. Agent Smith is in the house, by the way. I see you, fam. Happy Hump Day to you. It's been a minute, but I'm glad to have you, fam. We wanted to trade hope for actual, real change. We gave Barack Obama hope, and he left us with nothing. No change, no nothing, no benefit, no uplift, no growth. No. We tried hope. We tried hope. We tried believing. You know what, fam? You've got so many of your brothers and sisters out here that believe. And when I say believe, fam, they believe hard. You got brothers and sisters who wake up every day in spite of the data telling them that black folk ain't really got nothing. You got a few of us with some money, and that's really about it, who swear up and down that all they need to do is just come up with a new business idea, create an LLC. You feel me? We believe hard, fam, as a people. I'm going to let Morpheus' comment read out and then I'm going to address it because he's making some damn good points. Fam, black people.
This is why I go so hard on suicide down ballot. When callers would mention to YC that her strategy is flawed, she would say it's not and we must stay engaged. .org is anti-fatalist. Ju saying.
Facts. Facts, facts, facts on top of facts. Let me ask you a question, fam. And this is, again, no shade to my beloved sister Yvette Carnell. Love the sister to death. You understand me? I bleed for her. She brought me a gift I can never repay her for. But let's look at the reality of this shit. Is there any particular reason why we must stay engaged with this bullshit ass system? I mean, on some real shit. I mean, the fact is that no matter how engaged we've been, in Barack Obama's case, we're engaged to the tune of 96% of eligible black voters supported Mr. Hope and Change. It doesn't get any more engaged than that. 86% of us supported Hillary Clinton. Sniper fire, aka super predator. It doesn't get any more engaged than that. You will never get 100% of motherfuckers to engage on anything at all.
Hashtag Ado, the rise of the warrior class is coming.
I feel you, fam. Because again, I'm not against ADOS. But some of the strategies that we've had to espouse being a part of that politically, to be quite frank, are bewildering. And it's not because I'm incapable of understanding. Don't look at Mark Black when I look at certain strategies and go, huh? And think I'm the issue. I can see just like anyone else can see. We engage in this process, and by engaging in this process in a real sense, we give it our imprimatur. Because if you engage in, okay, so let's say that we're playing a game of chess. I sit down on one side of the board, you sit down on one side of the board, right? I'm white, you're black. The moment you sit down at that board, you're agreeing to accept certain principles. One of which is that you can only maneuver your pieces in certain ways. Another principle is that you have to take turns. By the way, shalom to Unapologetically Black. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Sister Tiffany, peace, sister. Welcome to the broadcast. Gregory is in the house, by the way. Thank you. Welcome to the broadcast. When you sit down at that table, that chess table, you're not just playing a game. You're accepting a series of principles. You're putting artificial constraints on, of movement, of thought process, of thinking. Now, if there is some benefit to you sitting at that chessboard and playing a game of chess, then I have no problem with you playing. But if you're sitting at that chessboard and every time a game is played,
exactly why I tune in, for a different perspective.
Sister Kwame, and that's why I'm here, to provide a different perspective. Not an opposing one, simply a different one. Right? Every time you sit down at that table,
no PA no vote is fatalist. We must send a message that we're withdrawing and becoming more and more fatalist. It's the only solution. After 500 plus years.
Oh, absolutely, Morpheus. And not only that, but I think, as your brother and one who loves you, that politics ain't the only area in which we need to become fatalists. In other words, the way we've been operating the black status quo, fuck white America. We're not even going to talk about them. Let us talk about our status quo, the way we have been operating, with no shade, no disrespect, just a clear enunciation of the facts. The fact is that the black status quo has been deadly for our people for so long. There is so many areas in which we need to understand that the way it's currently set up is not going to change. We have been playing a host of games and accepting a series of premises and rules that simply do not work to our favor. It is the equivalent of us sitting at a chessboard knowing that we will always hold the L and never get the W. We understand the rules just like everybody else. We understand the Electoral College. We understand the 3 branches of government. We can read the Constitution like everybody else. But how is it that politics, the way it's done, never seems to fucking work for us? We understand economics just like anybody else. We can read Keynesian monetary theory and fiscal policy. We can read modern monetary theory and so on and so forth. But how is it that economics never seems to work for us? We understand the need for us to connect to something greater than ourselves. And so we reach out for various gods, various deities, various religious expressions and spiritual expressions. But how is it that all of those seem to never work for us? I'll tell you the answer, but you don't want to fucking hear it. It's because each and every last option that you have had available to you up to now was designed to not work for you. It was never going to work in your favor, ever. I don't give a shit how hard you believe. By the way, thank you, Sister Sherry, for the love. I appreciate you. It was never going to be in your interest. No table you sit down at that you didn't create the fucking game for, that you didn't make the rules for, is going to work in your favor.
BA is the only option. Anything less is death.
You're damn right. You're damn right. We need to be fatalists. We need to finally have our come to Jesus moment with America and all of its institutions and understand that since we had no hand in building them, we will have no benefit coming from them. Biden could have a sit down with Yvette and Antonio and Dr. Darity and everybody else tomorrow. He could. And it might even look like that meeting might be productive. But facts are facts, fam. At the end of the day, cutting the check will not make white folks love us. It won't make them accept us any more than they do now. It won't make them say, well, you know what? I'm glad all of this racism stuff is over. Let's just be brothers. Come here, brother. I'm not saying I'm anti-reparations. Y'all know I fight harder for our justice claim than pretty much anybody you know. But I'm saying that we need to be real about it. Even on the day they cut the check for our justice claim, our fight doesn't end that day. Our fight begins. But you can't understand that if you're not a fatalist. You can't understand that if you still think that there is somehow hope for redemption of this system. You can't understand that if you're still sitting down at that table trying to get a seat at their table. For my Christian brothers and sisters out there, understand that Yeshua went into the temple and overthrew the tables. He toppled over the tables. Fam, you want a reboot? Start toppling over the tables, starting with the one in your head first. That table that you have set up with all of your different ideas regarding this system. How everything plays. By the way, shout out to my beloved sister Lisa for the love. I appreciate you. Fam, the reboot starts when you understand that there is nothing about any of this that you can save or that can save you. The only alternatives you have and I have are the ones we create. The only games worth playing are the ones we make. We've understood their rules. We've colored in the lines. We've done everything they've asked us to do for 400 plus years now.
Biden will give tone and YC the Marianne low ball.
Facts. You should expect that. See, this is the thing I don't understand. Morpheus can say that. And I can tell you for a certainty, he means no disrespect at all to Yvette and Tone. Right? But how is it that we could talk about Biden having a meeting with Yvette and Tone, Dr. Darity, and all of our other advocates that we know are fighting hard for this justice claim and not assume that the fuckery is in the mix? How is it you still, in this late juncture in time, see us going into any engagement with them and expecting there to not be shit that shakes out? How do you still, in light of all the evidence suggesting otherwise, assume that everything's going to be on the up and up? By the way, shout out to Jared's Viewpoint. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Jesus Price is in the house. One love, fam. Oh, shit, my beloved sister Taj. How could I miss her? Sister Taj, peace, sister. Welcome to the broadcast. Fam, tell me true. Explain to me this. Biden gives a sit down to our advocates, our leaders tomorrow. You honestly believe that he is going to come up to any table that they sit at and bargain with our leadership, with our advocates, our tried and true, in good faith? Really? Brother Morpheus will get shit on by so many people. How dare he talk about Event Told like that? They can negotiate better than that. It ain't got nothing to do with their capabilities. They still have to deal with this rotten, black-hearted motherfucker. All of their best intentions, all of their best efforts in the world doesn't mean that he's going to come to the table in good faith. But a fatalist would understand that even at the moment where we think victory is right there in our grasp, that's the moment of our greatest vulnerability. A fatalist would be prepared for the fact that Biden would come into the room on some fuckboy shit. A fatalist would look at the election of a new president and understand that no matter which candidate wins, white supremacy stays on top. A fatalist would understand the bullshit drivel being expounded at pulpit after pulpit after pulpit, keeping you in mental chains, keeping you chained to a God that it can't seem would ever be on your team. We don't just need fucking political fatalism, fam. We as black people need to become fatalists to everything that we know. Because everything that we know has worked to hurt us. There is nothing that is a savior. Nothing in the system is worth saving. There is nothing worth reforming. Nothing. Nothing, fam. Trust me when I tell you, search your heart. Search your feelings. I know this is a new concept to you. The idea that Mark Black is saying, wait a minute. So not even this? Yes, not even that is worth saving. Why? Because you didn't have a hand in making it. You keep eating a cake and you get sick. And you're thinking that you just need to eat a different cake. And yet you're not baking any. You keep eating cake that everybody brings to you. Your stomach upset like a motherfucker. You got sweats. You fucked up. How long does it take for you to make the correlation that, hey, I don't know what's in those cakes they made. Maybe if I want cake, I should just make my own cake. It don't have to be the best cake. Maybe I'm not the best baker. Maybe I might need to hook up with some other brothers and sisters who's way better at making cake than me. But through their efforts and through my efforts together, we can have a bomb-ass cake. And then if I still get sick from eating cake, then I know it's cake. But you can't eat everybody's cake and assume that it's cake making you sick. It could be these other cakes. You don't know what the fuck they putting in those cakes. Sister Alma, beloved sisters, I see you. Welcome to the broadcast. Mr. Too Opinionated is in the house. Yeah, like that video of the brother in the barbershop. You know what? That video of the brother in the barbershop was so dope because he didn't even bite his tongue. He said, all of you motherfuckers is foul. And all of this shit is foul. And until I have something that I had a hand in making where I know what the ingredients is in it and I know whether or not it's going to be good for me and my people, can't trust it. That's the idea. That's the idea, fam, that we need to adopt first. If we didn't put our hands in it, we don't know what constitutes, then we don't ever assume it's for our good. You didn't put in on Joe Biden's career. Matter of fact, at every step of the way, Joe Biden has made sure to ignore people like you and I. That is, when he wasn't looking to find some way to fuck us over, snuggling up next to motherfucking segregationists and criminalizing being black. There's a lot of you who are younger folk, my millennial brothers and sisters and Gen Zers, who won't believe that there was a time in this country where the concept doing something while black didn't exist. It wasn't until the crack era, when black people were getting pulled over just walking down the motherfucking street, that all of this driving while black, walking while black, eating while black, that's when that became a thing. Not to say that they didn't fuck with us because we was black, sure. But it wasn't systematic in place like that.
Speak on it, fam. Appreciate your wisdom and program.
Hey, I appreciate you too, DJ J Blue, man. Fam, we have to stop playing their bullshit games. We have to stop eating their treats. We have to stop being snookered into the fact that there's going to be some change, some reform that is ever going to be beneficial. By the way, shout out to Back to the Basics, another supporting member of the channel. Thank you, fam, and welcome to the broadcast.
Marianne showed how you can present the data to WS all day and still come with trick bags and disrespect. WS created the data results by practicing WS.
Facts. Here's another fatalist idea I'd like for you to adopt today, starting your personal and soon our collective reboot. There is no secrets whatsoever to white supremacy, fam. None. There are no secrets to this shit. White folks know what the hell is going on. They know how things have been for us. They know where we stand. They understand our circumstances and our situations perfectly. Perfectly. How can you not when you made it that way? Oh, I know. It's not all white folks. Doesn't have to be all white folks. Just enough. There is no secrets in any of this shit, fam. There is nothing that they have done, are planning to do, or will do that we can't know. I get so sick of black folk who tell us, man, we gotta be smarter than them crackers. They think 4 or 5 steps ahead. No, they don't. Have you been around any white folks? When I hear that from black people, I have to wonder how many white folks they actually been around. Because I don't mean no disrespect, but the master race isn't much of a master of anything. Seriously, fam, have you ever worked with any white folks? 9 times out of 10, in order for them to keep a job, they got to come and ask you how the fuck to do it. I truly and honestly believe with my whole heart that if niggas was to disappear from United States of America tomorrow, this country would be in the toilet in 10 years.
No reparations is better than trick bag reparations. Once we accept trick bag reparations, our future generations will never get real reparations.
Facts. We have to hit this, and we have to hit it hard. We have to hit it right, and we got to get it right the first time. Because we won't get another shot at it. Fam, white folks don't play 4D chess, okay? They're not all born geniuses with the master key on how to fuck over niggas. No, white folks just understand that your stupid black ass still see their game is worth playing. That's all. They understand that you still seem to think that there's any validity in still supporting and upholding and playing with and acknowledging the value of and the blah, 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 blah. That's it. They're not geniuses. They're not planning 50, 100, 200 years down the line. They don't even know how to plan 5 years from now, fam. Look at the motherfucking environment. These bastards have control over the whole globe. And they've run the shit into the goddamn ground. Mother Nature's on the verge, fam, of burning us all the fuck up. Sending storms our way we've never even seen before. That's your master race, fam. So goddamn genius that they can't figure out how to shit in a litter box instead of all over the house. There's your master race, fam. There's your 4D chess players right there. So goddamn intelligent that they can't figure out that, hey, we keep doing this, we might not have a place to stay. I'm so sick of us thinking that we lack alternatives when all we've done is we've just lacked the will to develop alternatives. So the first thing I need you to take away from today, the first part of the reboot, is fatalism. There is nothing about this system that is going to work for you. Does that mean that all of it is not going to work? Yep, it means all of it. Now, you say to me, Brother Black, well, what happens if they do give us reparations? You know what I say? Good. But I'm not going to sit here and hold my breath and assume that they're going to give us reparations. If in spite of everything, justice comes from this system that we're a part of, that is incidental. My hope, fam, and my dreams, and my desires, and my goals have nothing to do with what these motherfuckers have built. Nothing. Nothing. It could all be washed away tomorrow. And you know what I'm going to do, fam? I'm going to get up and I'm going to go, now let's get to work. Do it with me, fam. Let's get to work. That's the thing they're afraid of. They're afraid that you're going to see that you don't need to play their game no more. That you don't need to operate under the same premises that they tell you to operate under. They say obey the law. The very first question on every black person's mind should be simple. Why? Why should I obey your law? What benefit is obeying your law to me and mine? See, fam, that fatalism attitude comes with some weapons, some tools. The first tool that you pick up when you become a fatalist is you pick up the tool of skepticism. What do I mean? Simply that you accept nothing without evidence. When you become a fatalist, you become a skeptic. Joe Biden's Lift Every Voice Act is going to close the racial wealth gap by providing X, Y, and Z. If you're still stuck in hope and change, that might sound good to you. When you're a fatalist, you'd be like, yeah, let me see the fine print. Yeah, that sound good, but I'm gonna need a little bit more information.
I work with nothing but mediocre whites. They all make more money than me.
Yep.
Regardless of my education and profession experience.
I'm a fam, Adrique, you know what I'm talking about, man. How many times y'all done had a job where you the coldest motherfucker on the job? Your supervisor is coming and asking you how to do shit. Make that make sense. Your supervisor is coming and asking you how to get the job done. It ain't because they smarter. It ain't because they play 4D chess constantly and niggas is just down here in the mud and don't understand their thought process. No, it's because they got the game rigged up that way. It's called nepotism. It's called, looking away, looking the other way, letting shit slide, giving people passes. That's all. It ain't 4D chess. Just a simple set of premises that they've gotten you to accept is okay for them to operate under. And not only that, but for you to operate under. But the weapon of skepticism, fam, the weapon of skepticism helps you. Because skepticism will make you question everything. And I would argue, thank you, by the way, back to the basics. I appreciate the love. I would argue, fam, that if we're going to reboot, there's a whole lot of tough ass, hard ass questions that we need to be asking and demanding the answers for. never resting until we actually understand those answers. The next weapon that being a fatalist gives you, fam, is the tool of vision. When Francisco Pizarro, right, a conquistador, landed on the shores of South America, him and his fellow conquistadors didn't know what the fuck they was walking into. Had no clue. But they knew that they was either going to walk in there and succeed beyond their wildest dreams, or they were going to die. Now, how did they know that? Because they burnt their boats. They burnt their boats. They said, we will make it or we won't. You need black women, black men to burn your boats. Get on shore, strike up a position, and burn your motherfucking boats. They done carried us as far as they gonna carry us. You don't drag your boat up on the shore and keep trying to row the motherfucker while you're up on shore, pulling the sails and shit, trying to get it to sail on the dirt. That's not how a boat works. Burn them motherfuckers. This is not to say to shame the ancestors or disrespect nobody, but this means that if the ways we operated before were ways that would work, they would have worked. It's all right for you to say, you know what, that shit ain't working. Let's do something else. Fatalism gives you the mental clarity needed to discard everything that you know isn't working. To be buoyed by the evidence that you gain via your skepticism. You then take that evidence and you use that evidence, that information, to create your alternatives. What do we know about our people? We know that our people control roughly about 2% of the total wealth of this nation. We know that we are on the bottom of every conceivable beneficial metric you can measure. We know this. Now, armed with that data, what does that tell us? What does that tell us is the likely path to turning that around? Well, the first thing that tells us is that whatever options we exercise, we're going to have to minimize the use of wealth to do it. That should go without saying, right? Trying to badger black people about money when we ain't got none is a losing proposition. That's not to say that we can't contribute to different things, right? That's not to say that we can't put in our 2 cents and 4 cents and dollars and pennies and so on and so forth. But what this is to say is that the effect of anything we do regarding wealth, we, in order to be successful, we'll have to find a way to limit the effect or the need of wealth on whatever options we choose to exercise. Now, what does that look like, Brother Black? Well, I can tell you what it looks like. But if you listen to the pale stream media, if you listen to the teachers in school, if you listen to your college professor, what I'm about to say won't make any fucking sense. Black people need to be communal. Communism, communal, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They've been telling us communism bad. Communism bad. I don't want to be no communist. What you mean communist? Nah, black people need to be all on that shit. We need to be trying to understand communism, how it works to the nth degree, and making that shit crack. From each according to their ability, to each according to their need. Because guess what, fam? Functionally speaking, even if we were all to embrace a communal way of living, meaning that my life individually don't matter, it is us, the collective, that matters, right? Even if we were to embrace that and we still ended up poor, what the fuck does that matter? We're all poor equally. In the equality of it, is our strength. I know it sounds fucked up to say, damn, man, I gotta work for these niggas. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And they have to work for us. But now, fam, let me share a few secrets with you about this whole communism shit. Because you got these white communists out here that just heard what I just said and said, we won! We finally got Mark Black! No, you didn't. Because I understand a few things about communism. You don't. Communism can only work when it's voluntary. Meaning, fam, that what I just said ain't gonna obtain for a lot of people you fuck with. They gonna hear you say, man, I fucks with this whole communal effort thing that Brother Black is talking about, man. I can ride with that. You know what? It ain't me, it's us. You'll have people, members of your own tribe, fellow Negroes, niggas, who will be like, nigga, what is you talking about? I'm not with that shit. But you know what, fam? Your job ain't to convince them. Let them go their own way. Your job is not to convert every black person out here to thinking like that. You ain't gonna save us all, even if you try. Fatalism, remember? Everything you've been thinking is the way shit works. You need to be questioning the way you've been thinking, the way that everything fucking works. You've been thinking that unity requires that we have every one of our tribes people on board with a grand project. And guess what? White supremacy is happy as fuck for you to think that. They're happy as hell when you're thinking, man, why won't our people just unify? If we would just come together, we'd have a chance at defeating these crackers. They love it. Because as long as you're waiting on everybody, you ain't getting no motherfucking where. We don't need everybody. What you need is your bodies. You know what? I haven't studied enough about Afro-pessimism, Trey, to even answer that question intelligibly, right? But I will say that from what I do understand about Afro-pessimism, there is a sense of fatalism in it, deriving from critical race theory, as far as I understand. All right. So take that for what you will. Fam, we ain't going to see every black person be on board with anything. And that is okay. That's okay. That is perfectly fine, fam. I need you as your brother and one who loves you to get past this idea that every black person got to think like you. Even the day that you and I receive our liberation, we accept it wholeheartedly. We finally see justice in this country. There will actually be black people against our justice claim, against our liberation, against our elevation on that same day. You're not going to save every Negro that's out there. Let me tell you what unity actually is and why these white communists can't do shit to us. Because what real unity is finding the people that want for themselves what you want for them. You embrace this ethos of not me, us. Okay? In other words, I'm a part of a communal effort, a communal body, a body politic, a body spiritist, whatever you want to call it. You feel me? Right? Now, what you then do is you say, what do I want from that? What can I provide to the community? And what do I want from the community? Write it down, fam. You still know how to use pen and paper, don't you? We don't all just click on keyboards and shit, right? Write that shit down and go in depth. Lay out all the way as far as you can dig into your psyche what you're willing to give to your people, to your community, and what you're expecting in return from your community. And then go find those folk and tell them, I want this for you. Do you want that? Fam, you ain't got to convert nobody. You ain't got to browbeat nobody. You ain't got to argue with nobody. You don't have to debate nobody. Present your vision. Adopt the understanding that nothing will change about this system to your benefit, and commit to creating the alternatives needed. Be skeptical of every fucking thing. Question every motivation. Question every idea you have. Question every belief you hold. Question every relationship you in. Question it all. Because you need that data in order to know which path to walk. And then, armed with that vision, go and find your people. You don't need all of us to make a massive fucking change, to reboot. You just need your people. The last thing before I open up the lines, the last thing that we need for this reboot, the last brick in the foundation of fatalism, skepticism, a real true understanding of what unity is we need to commit. Now, when I say commit, it seems like I'm saying something simple, because when I say commit, I'm only simply meaning that we agree to do it. Right? Having washed away the dross and the crap in our heads, having built the infrastructure of our lives to allow us to accept nothing but the reality of matters, having a love affair with the motherfucking truth, and letting that truth dictate to us what our next steps are. At some point, fam, we gotta pull the trigger. We got to set aside any bullshit ass arguments. We got to set aside, the minutia, the narcissism of small ass differences, and we just need to march. Thank you, Sister Kawami. We got to commit. We got to pull the trigger. Right? Fam, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. If a good proportion of our people decides to follow the political path of, hashtag ADOS, I'll ride. I don't have a horse in the race. As an anarchist, I don't think any of these political systems are worth a fuck anyway. But yet, haven't I been fighting on your behalf? Why? Because I know that's what you want. But that frustration, that misdirected anger I felt in the last week or so since this stupid ass election reminded me of one important thing. It's all right for me to want what you want, even if what you want isn't necessarily what's good for you. What's not okay is for me to ever confuse the fact that you wanting something means I want it too. I don't want what a lot of these motherfuckers want. And I don't think that a lot of my angry black sheep and other black folk out here want what a lot of these other motherfuckers want. We don't want to sit here. We don't want to sit here and keep jockeying for a better position for the boot on our ass. We don't want to continue to play their stupid fucking games. We don't really care about their goddamn voting processes and their constitutions and their hierarchies and all their fuck shit. We don't care about what they try to tell us in school is the truth. We just want the unvarnished, unadulterated, 100%, 190 proof truth. And we want to sip that shit hot or cold. We want to get it in us and we want to move based off of that. Then let's commit today to doing that, fam. Let's commit to a reboot. Everything is not going to always go our way. If we adopt everything in this broadcast today, it is not going to be 100 motherfucking percent anything yet. This is a mental shift. This lays down the foundations, fam, of what will ultimately constitute the actions that we take in order to reboot. Sister Taj said we need to start running independent candidates. I agree. But we also need to plan for the fact that none of that shit is going to make a bit of fucking difference. And we need to be okay with that. That's the whole point of everything I'm saying today. We as black people don't have the luxury of assuming that any engagement with the system in which we live is going to work out the way it's supposed to. If we create a new political party under this current system, there's a multitude of new parties out there. There's the Freedom Party, there's the Greens, right? There's the Socialists, the Democratic Socialists. There's even a Communist Party out there. There's all these different parties. How effective have they been in really moving the needle on much? But every year they run new candidates. They develop new platforms. They continue to play the fucking game. So I have no problem with you running office, candidates for offices. I'll support them. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that running candidates for offices or creating a new political party is ultimately going to get us what we want, because all the evidence that we've ever seen shows otherwise. That doesn't mean it can't work. I'm not going to assume anymore it will work. Fam, are y'all following me? Pop a one in the chat if I'm making any sense today. I'm not saying don't go out there and don't live your life. I'm simply saying that from now on, you need to be in a position mentally where you never assume that it is going to work the way you're thinking it's supposed to work, the way they're telling you it's supposed to work. That's all I'm saying. If you understand that, fam, we are on the same sheet of music. You want to do politics? Do politics. I have no problem with it. I support it. You want to do education? Do education. I'm with it 100%. I support you 100%. Just let go of the idea that your efforts are actually going to be beneficial as long as they're operating underneath this, and start to work to develop the alternatives with the table you built, the solutions you created from the understanding that you have. Our esteemed ancestor, Frederick Douglass, said, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. But we're thinking in our ignorance or in our fear that we are supposed to be demanding power from the white folks. That there is supposed to be a transfer of power from them to us. Now, if you've been following your man Mark Black today, you understand that fatalism tells you that that's bullshit. They'll never fucking concede any power that they have to you, to your black ass. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. No. Our brother Frederick was telling us that power, the demand for power, is the demand for us to empower ourselves. We are going to have to take and create and maintain and build and sustain power. And that ain't got shit to do with no white folks. That ain't got shit to do with no Democrats or no Republicans. They don't have shit to do with no churches, no mosques, no synagogues. That has everything to do with you and me turning to each other, clasping hands and saying, all right, fam, you ready? Let's go to it. Demand from yourself, from your family, from your tribe. Demand power from them. Demand power for you. For us. You don't fuck what the white folks is talking about. Fuck they MSNBCs and they Fox Newses and the new Civil War and all that other bullshit. None of that matters. Fam, we truly, even in spite of all the apparent handicaps we have, we truly can create alternatives that not only work, but serve us. Not just for a short term, but for a long term. If you don't believe that, you got bigger problems than Brother Black can help you with. Fatalism turns me away from their shit, but it finally points me in the direction I always needed to been facing from Jump Street. It points me towards you. You and I are the only power we've ever needed. They don't want you to understand that, fam. They don't want you to understand that. They don't want you to accept that when we decide that it's time for a reboot, we will have it. They want you to think that some muckety muck somewhere in some government office somewhere is going to decide a plan for your whole life. Bullshit. That can only happen if you want them to. That's not to say they won't try. But what's the only thing they can do? Only thing they can do is kill us, fam. And they're already doing that with a death by 1,000 cuts. A deaths of ignorance, deaths of fear, deaths of poverty. I can't speak for you, but if they're going to come at us, come at us. Right? No more of this game fucking playing shit where they nick at us 1,000 times over, standing there watching us bleed out, watch us suffer. Nah, fam. I can't speak to that no more. I can't speak for that. If they're going to come at us, make them shit or get off the pot, as Mama Black would say. The vision, fam, is simply this. You and I can live our lives the way we choose that is beneficial and best for us as individuals, as families, as communities, and ultimately as a tribe, as a people, as a commune. And we don't need to wait for anybody else say so, anybody else's imprimatur to have it. Buoyed by our own vision, derived from a real understanding of our circumstances and our situation, questioning everything, accepting nothing at face value without evidence, we move forward into our new space, into a complete and total reboot. We don't have to wait on some world economic forum to do that for us. We can do that now. Will there be obstacles? Yes. Will there be limitations? Yes. We live in a finite universe. There's always going to be limits. But within the limits, fam, you are not hindered by a goddamn thing that you don't want to be hindered by. And I don't mean you. I mean you. Are you starting to get it? The idea of the commune, the great black mass, the descendants of the enslaved here in the United States, the children of the enslaved, us, is you. From now on, when I say you, I'm not talking about you, John Anderson, or you, Trey, or you, Zulu. By the way, peace, Zulu. I see you, fam. I'm talking about you. The great you that you always been a part of, whether you wanted to be or not. About time you go ahead and just accept that. Find your people. Maybe I'm your people. I'm going to present some visions moving forward, starting from today, moving forward. Some will be simple. Some will be not so simple. Some will be easy for you to jump on board with. Some you'll be like, this nigga's crazy. But all of them will not be predicated on the fact that I'm trying to save a goddamn thing about this rotten ass system. I'm not trying to get its approval. I'm not trying to make it better. I'm not trying to reform it. I'm not trying to give it the opportunity to iterate, to innovate. I'm trying to ignore it. And I'm trying to see it go the fuck away. There is nothing about this I want to keep. Maybe I'm not your people. Maybe you still think that you might be able to fix some of this. Instead of the boot being on your neck, maybe you can move the boot further down your back. You know, instead of the boot being up your ass, you can, dodge to the side and get kicked in the leg. If that's you, I'm not your people. Find your tribe. With my blessing. You don't need to diss me. You don't need to argue with me. You don't need to wait on me to try to convince you. If I'm not your people, I'm not your people. The exit's that way. But if what I've said today on this broadcast has taken that fucking frustration out of you and turned it back into that cool, cold, directional rage that you know is the rocket fuel and the birthright of every motherfucking black person in the United States of America, if you finally washed away the bullshit taste that was left in your mouth come November 3rd, then what's up? What y'all ready to do? Let me open up the lines, fam. Four two 1980. Nope, wait, sorry, that's the old number. Let me put up the new number here, fam. Give me just a second. Don't call the old one. Let's do the new one. Fam, I want to thank everybody, by the way. Y'all have been participating like crazy in the chat today. You motherfuckers have been giving me life. I'm telling you, people, this is what we've been waiting on. You know what I'm saying? Give me just a second. There we go. Caller from 860, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind?
Oh, yeah, it's brother Mr. Engaged, man.
Hey.
I just want to say awesome show as always.
Thank you, brother. Hey, you know what? I needed the inspiration, fam, because I'm telling you, man, that election, looking at the results of the bullshit and just looking at just shaking my head constantly, I'm just like, man, nah, I can't operate like that. Something's got to give. What's on your mind, fam?
Brother, you have hit so much on my head what I've been going through civically. Like, I've been working with one of my sisters. Like, yeah. I've been part of one of those civic groups, whatever. And she brought up one thing. She's bringing up the fact that she said, let this club rock. She said, do what you got to do. Get what you need to take. But let it rock. Because we weren't involved in it. And every time I was in these spaces, I'm fighting and advocating for black people. Doing things. I'm getting shot at by black people or my own people on this issues and things. Unfortunately. But when I start really looking at it and weighing out for what it is, I'm glad that you did this podcast. It gave me a crisp, cool head.
That fam, we needed that because the poison had set in, fam. Our last two broadcasts before these 2 weeks where these two broadcasts where I didn't broadcast, those two broadcasts were us basically in mourning, fam. And I said, truly, that's all right for us to be mad right now. It's all right for us to mourn, right? It's all right for us to look at this shit and just shake our head and go, damn, right? But at the end of the day, we can't dwell in that space. And I had to remember from whence I came, basically. I had to take the last couple of broadcasts and just remember, wait a minute, this ain't me. I didn't have a horse in this race to begin with. The only reason why I gave a fuck about Joe Biden or Donald Trump is because my people still seem to think that they're of note or of necessity to worry about. Maybe I need to tell my people they ain't really about shit. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get back on my square. And that's what I'm offering to us as people moving forward. Go ahead, fam.
I just think as a group that we ain't put too much stock and think that their ice is colder. Just more and more and more. It's really like, why don't have civic groups going around? If we talk about Pan-Africanism, how come we don't have a civic group that's going all around America or all around the world addressing our needs?
Facts.
Like, we have the intellectuals, we have the people that the minds, and we definitely have the vision more than ever because of what we're going through right now. I don't know where it's at middle ground at where we can get us all, we don't need all of us aboard, but the ones that are ready to get on board.
We're gonna talk a little bit about it because I mentioned communism and I'm sure I probably turned off like 50,000 people just then, but truth be told, there's a great example to kind of give you a glimpse of where the discussion is gonna go when we start getting into brass tacks. when you look at the Russian Revolution of 1918, right, which is kind of like, excuse me, kind of history's great example of a communist revolution. You see that right from the get-go, there were some problems that came up to the fore that never really got addressed. For example, the concept of vanguardism. Vanguardism, essentially put, is that Lenin, among others, believed that by creating a communist vanguard, basically a forward-moving communist force, and creating a communist sphere or communist space, that they would then be able to expand that space and bring everybody ultimately into the great commune. But there's a problem with vanguardism.
I thought that my man, Mr. West, or not Cornell West, pushed back on that in a couple of his articles in his papers, saying that communism was not meant for the black man.
He's full of shit. And I'll tell you why he's full of shit. Because communism, just like any other philosophy, is simply just a series of principles. Who is it that has the right to tell any black people that any principles are not ours? That we don't have the right to those principles or those ideas, right? Fuck that. Like I've said this before, fam, but it would behoove you to take this to heart. Any black person or any person for that matter that tries to constrict your options is your enemy. Because life cannot operate without diversity. It needs diversity. Why do you think we have so many different billions of genes in our genetic code? Because that genetic diversity is what keeps human beings, right? Because of a modification of this gene, maybe it's better, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just neutral. Who cares? But that diversity means that something that has the potential to wipe out one of us doesn't have the potential to wipe out all of us. But as you see consistently throughout this system, even the most well-meaning people, brother, work their asses off to constrict your choices. As an anarchist, my point of view is that I have no right to constrict your options. Now, I can present you what I think are great options. We can have that discussion. I could talk about communism, but I know for a fact that as long as people have different opinions about it or different understandings of it, I'm not going to get everybody anyway. So this whole idea of creating some sort of forward-thinking communist force of black men that's going to sweep the nation and sweep up all the black people is a bullshit losing proposition from jump. What our job is if we adopt some of these principles, these communal principles of operation. I won't say communism because it just simply has too much baggage. We even need new words for shit. But if we start to adopt these communal ideas and principles, our job is simply just to put them in action and let people see them. Right? Are you familiar with the Bible, brother? I don't know your religious background or anything like that, and I'm not going to assume.
No. I don't really mess with any of those spaces like that.
Okay, that's cool. I'm starting
to lean towards African spirituality, honestly.
No, that's perfectly fine, brother. That's perfectly fine.
To really rock with that. Yeah, I'm not really on that Christian.
But here's the thing to know: truth is truth, no matter where you find it. Right? So understand that if you understand nothing else, right? If I hear something true from a white man, I'm going to take it, right? I don't mean I trust him. It means I trust the truth, right? But that being said, the Bible says that, that who is it that has a lamp and hides it under a bushel basket? You let your light shine so that when people see the light, they give glory to God. They get happy. Right? They get joy from seeing the light, right? Who is it as black folk that has an idea, but then be like, oh, no, black men shouldn't have ideas like that. We shouldn't be thinking about communism and socialism or any of the other, at least the way we think about it. Who does that? Who does that?
Well, I've seen other black people do that more.
Yeah, but my point is, fam,
I've seen black people from certain sets of different communities. I'll even point to Muslim communities. I can even point to Christian communities.
No. But see, check it out though, fam. The key thing is though, is like I said, the status quo that black people been operating under previously required that anything we do, we got to have the say so of every black head or it doesn't work. That's not true. What we need to do is, if we think we have a good idea with this communal action, right, with this communal mindset, not me, us, and we embrace that ethos, that philosophy, those sets of principles, and we start putting that shit into action, the people that want that will come to us. We don't need to convince all these other Negroes that our way is the better way. We just need to do it. And if our way is a way that somebody vibes with, if they see that this is a way that works for them, we don't have to argue with them. We don't have to convince them. We don't have to sit here and spend our valuable life energy in debates and discussion and all this and that and the third. And if they don't see it the way we see it, bid them go peace in their own way. We've been spending too much time as black folk trying to make every black folk, every member of our tribe think the same way. We need to be having a diversity of thought, not because diversity of thought ultimately empowers us all, but what diversity of thought allows is for the best ideas to rise to the top, right? For the cream of our ideas and principles and morals and so on and so forth to have their opportunity to rise to the top. But if we keep squelching other people's moves by saying, oh, them niggas don't know what they doing, talking about commune this and this, that, and the third, right? How will we ever get anywhere?
Hey, I got an awkward question, not to move too far to the left on this. But
Go ahead, fam.
If we tie communism in with the guise of mental health, because what I mean is if we say that communism is about the collective and the all, and if we put it into the guise of mental health and saying that not only that you should be worried about your health and your well-being, you should be worrying about the ones that are around you and so forth.
Absolutely.
And so forth.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that it really would revamp how we view mental health in our community, and how it's being executed right now.
Absolutely.
And even with the whole reparation discussion, originally I was thinking about how could I get a group of black people all in a crowded room? At least if there was that conversation to pop off, I really think that mental health and the communal aspect would branch that out.
Yep. I would agree with you. And so with that in mind, fam, I would ask you to keep that thought in the forefront of your head, because that is one area of which we're going to have to, as a commune, as a group, as a people, as a tribe, that is one area we cannot afford no longer to allow or wait for other people to set up the infrastructure for that. We need to be creating our own lineage therapy groups with different breakdowns for different demographics. We have our LGBT brothers and sisters. We've got, sisters maybe want their own thing, and brothers maybe their own thing. And we even need some shit that help us parents with child rearing, because child rearing amongst our people is just absolutely fucking atrocious. It's a goddamn crime against humanity, and we need the space to be able to really discuss those ideas in a fashion where people don't get to just run roughshod saying, well, my mama beat my ass and look at me, I turned out fine. No, you didn't. You know what I'm saying, right? So we need to start taking real control as a group, as a tribe, of our mental health, with the eye not just to fix ourselves, but to give of ourselves to help our people fix themselves. When I share stories with you, brother,
I don't see our educators doing that at this time frame.
You will, because I'm going to make it to where you become somebody who can do that, and where Brother Bester becomes somebody that can do that, and where I become somebody that can do that. We are no longer, after today, fam, this is the start of the reboot. After today, fam, we're not waiting around on any fucking body to give us what we need. Our ancestor told us power concedes nothing without a demand. I demand that you become empowered, brother. I demand that anything that you dream, that you vision is good for you and good for our people, that you give it birth. I need you to do that. I demand that you be empowered. Not that you have to take power from somebody else. I can't make somebody give you power, but I can demand from you that you be empowered. Christian brothers and sisters will say, speak it as if it is, right? Well, then, brother, I speak it. I speak power to you. You will be empowered. Why? Because I cannot be empowered unless you are. That's the communal thought. Remember that mental health we were just talking about? Right there, that mental shift, that I cannot be mentally healthy if you're suffering. I cannot be mentally composed if you're discombobulated. Not me. Us. Then that means that if I have the ability to aid you in getting your mental balance, getting on your square, getting your mental health, then I have that responsibility, that honor to be able to give you my best of my ability to see to it that you reach that point. That's a whole different mind state than how we've been operating, fam. That is not the black status quo. And that sure in the hell isn't communism the way the white folks try to tell you communism is. They try to tell you communism is where the people just own everything and, and the workers and this, that, and the third. Fam, if we do this right, everybody's a worker. Everybody's a leader. Everybody's empowered. Whether you push a broom or whether you type a memo, you both have the same human dignity. You still have the same value, the same worth. They have the same rights and have the right to have the same needs met. Let them white communists be talking about factories and means of production and all that shit. We broke. We can't afford no motherfucking factories. But you know what? I got your hands and you got mine. I got your heart and you got mine. What can we do with that? That's where we need to be moving forward. We don't have to wait on nobody. We don't have to wait on nobody to do that.
I don't want to hold up the line for everybody else. I definitely want them to get their time to shine, and I want to say thank you for this message because it was definitely well needed.
The honor truly is mine, and I'm glad that I was able to bring something that finally gets you out of that sick ass space we've been in for a minute. We don't need to be there. That's not where our ancestors meant for us to dwell. We will have heaven. I demand we have it, and so we will. Right. We just need to figure out how to get there.
Peace and blessings, man.
Peace, brother. Peace. Great call from the brother Engaging Black, fam. Now, fam, are y'all starting to get it? Now y'all starting to see the barest structure of what the reboot looks like? We can still sit down at they bullshit ass chess tables knowing that at any time we could get up and be like, man, fuck this shit and toss the damn table over and walk off because we developing our own opportunities. Yeah, code. It's definitely tribalism, fam. I'm with that. Matter of fact, that's what I call it. Strangely enough, I call it tribalism, where we get with our people, right? You don't go to Navajo and the Navajo try to act like they're Hopi. Hopi people don't try to act like they're Inuit. Inuit people don't try to act like they're Haudenosaunee. They're all their tribe. They don't look at every single, native to this land as their people per se. That didn't come for many of us until the white man showed up. Everybody already operates as a tribe. It's just time that we do the same, which means that we need to be open to the idea that our people exists out here, that no matter what vision burns in your heart, fam, that your people is waiting for you. But power will concede nothing without you demanding, without you bearing that vision and giving it birth. I'm going to present a vision, and I will, with the help of many of you, give that vision birth. And we're not going to be sitting there wasting our time, spinning our wheels, trying to convince people that our way is the right way. Our people will know our way is the right way. It will call out to them They won't need to be convinced. They won't need to be argued with. Life too fucking short, fam. I'm not arguing with these motherfuckers no more. I'm not arguing with Biden supporters or Trump supporters. I'm not arguing with socialists. I'm not arguing with libertarians. I'm not arguing with none of them motherfuckers no more. I'm not even gonna argue with other niggas. I'm gonna extend a whole hell of a lot of grace, and I'm gonna spend a whole hell of a lot of time looking for my people, so that I can be with them and they can be with me. I'm looking for my tribe. It's time for us to do that, fam. That's the key to the release of all that frustration, all that outrage, all that depression. It is time for us to find our tribe. And it is time for us to show everybody what the fuck we own. And let them either rejoice or let them shudder. Makes no matter to us. 360-602-2667 is the number, fam. I know I had a few people call in. I can only take one call at a time. So go ahead, fam. Give me a call in. Speak your piece. We talking about today the reboot. Black folk need a reboot. Big Og said, for the last 25 years or so, I've always operated with the knowledge that I have innate power within me. I don't need something, or I think you're saying I don't need something I already have. I just use my own power and build on that to obtain more power. Let me tell you something, Big Unk fam. You don't even know the truth. You don't even know the half. Because everybody around you got power too. Now find your people. Find your tribe, Big Unk. I think you're with me, fam. I think you're a part of my people. But if I'm not, go with my blessing. But find your people. Because, fam, what will ultimately save black folk is all of us picking our respective battlefront in this great war against white supremacy. Putting down our motherfucking spear and saying here and no further. My ideas is one route, is one way, is one path. And the people that will choose to fight like I do, I won't need to convince them. They'll be already, matter of fact, some of y'all tonight are already on board. Y'all like, I don't even care. I'm just waiting on the details. Lay it out, Brother Black. Don't worry, fam. It's coming. But understand, fam, that we are going to have to find our individual tribe, and we're going to need to hook up with that individual tribe. Call it a clan, if you will, if you want. Tribe, clan works the same for me, right? But what it ultimately equals out to is you stop wasting your time spinning your wheels trying to convince people of the rightness of what you're doing and simply show them that you're right. Commit. See the truth by stop with the illusions to yourself, disillusion yourself, be a fatalist, be skeptical, ask the questions, right? And then with that truth, develop a game plan, taking into account what you know the facts to be true, and then commit to execution. Commit to it. Burn your ships. We ain't got nowhere else to go, fam. So the only place we got to go is forward. 360-602-2667 is the number, fam. I want to hear what you think. Maybe I put something heavy on y'all mind because the chat done got mad quiet. Sister Alma said right. And yeah, sis, that's where it is. I'm not going to get frustrated over what a bunch of people in their ignorance, in their fear, decide to do. I'm not going there anymore. I know my people were sold a bill of goods by Joe Biden and the sheepdogs. I'm not going to hate my people for that. And I don't give a fuck about these sheepdogs. You see what I'm saying? So the fact is, fam, is that all that frustration, all that outrage, anger, whatever, miss us with that. It's time for us to do work. Exactly, Big Unk. People believed as though they were powerless. We looked at the damn circumstance of the situation and we're like, damn, We can't breathe. Yes, you can. Joe Biden ain't the boss of you. He never was. Trump is not the boss of you. The Democrats, the Republicans are not the boss of you. No one deserves to rule you. None of them can be trusted to rule you. It is time, like our brother Frederick Douglass said, for you to be empowered, for you to demand power, and to not rest until you have it. But understand that you can only be empowered to the extent that you empower me. Like Yeshua is reputed to have said, fam, the greatest one among you is the one who serves. Y'all have been given the tools. Y'all have been given the weapons, the tools to our liberation the whole time. But you've been letting everybody else determine how you see those tools. I hand you a sword and you try to write on a piece of paper with it. Swords ain't meant for writing. They're meant for swinging. You've been living in a dream world, Neo. Right? Like, none of this shit that we think is the truth is the truth. It's not. We just been sitting at other people's game tables, thinking that all we have to do in order to have fun playing the game and to get where we want to go is just understand the rules. If you truly understood the rules, fam, you would understand that no matter which table you sit at, because you didn't create the game, the rules are never in your favor. Fam, pop a 1 in the chat if any of you go to casinos, if you gamble. All my casino heads out there, whether it's slots, craps, baccarat, right, roulette, all my casino heads out there, all the gamblers, pop a 1 in the chat. Cause I got something for y'all today. I think you gonna like this. Oh, I got a call. Well, shit, I'll take that instead. Let's do it. Caller from 404, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind?
Hey, what's going on, Mark? It's Morpheus.
Morpheus, hey brother, it's good to hear you. Hey, you hella quiet, and I want to make sure we hear everything you saying, brother. So, are you talking directly on your phone, or you got your Bluetooth on?
I got my Bluetooth on. Is it better now? I turned up the volume.
Yeah, that's much better, bro. Hey, it's a pleasure to have my brother, family brother Morpheus is on the line. What's on your mind, fam? Talk to us.
Not much, man. I ain't gonna keep you long.
Shit, fam, the floor is yours. You already know what it is.
And I just wanted to add my thought when you was talking about, the communism idea or the commune idea.
Yes.
I want to say this, and I would think most of your audience gets this, but I just kind of want to add it in the conversation so people keep it on the forefront of their mind.
Yes, sir.
I'm saying it now how Khalid Muhammad, and no, you don't have to agree with everything he said, even though he's my favorite ancestor of all time.
Oh, Khalid, man, may that brother rest well among our ancestors.
Exactly. I don't agree with a lot of what he says, though, so I'm not saying it as, oh, you have to follow Khalid as Bible, and if you don't like what he says, then you shouldn't listen to this. I think like you were saying, you would take truth from a white man. Truth can come from any source, whether you agree with the overall ideas that come from that source or not. But I'm saying that to say, Brother Khalid Muhammad, one famous line I remember him saying is, I've been all over the world, and I've seen every system that the white man had. And he named everything. He talked about how whether you have communism, it's the white communist on the top and the black communist on the bottom.
Yep.
Got the white capitalist on the top and the black capitalist on the bottom. And he went into religion, his own religion.
Yep.
Islam. The white Muslim is on the top. The black Muslim is on the bottom. Christianity. The white Christian is on the top. The black Christian is on the bottom. So I just say this to say, or to tie into your whole commune plus fatalism argument, understand that whatever idea you come up with, like you said, you have to have the fatalist idea that the trick bag is coming.
Facts.
Or that the trick bag if you're dealing with white people. So if you're going to have this idea, and I know that you, brother, you were saying this with the understanding that this is not going to be about pissing up on the white people. I'm saying for the people who will have that idea. Oh, we can just do this and we can have a commune with some white people. No. If I'm sorry, the trick bag is coming. You have to, even if they don't have that mentality, you have to expect that, because the results have shown us after 500 plus years of white supremacy that they will present a trick bag if you try to involve white people in any way. And you have to expect that trick bag.
Exactly. Now, fam, this is of course is not to say that nothing, you know, that we'll do stuff and white people won't be interested or whatever. Who cares? I don't really care about that. The thing is like you said, if you seek to involve them, if it ceases about being about our people, right, our tribe, the moment that happens, expect a fucking. Because if this is about the collective us, then we as a collective have to operate under the auspices of the idea that we will have our best interests at heart, but we can't count on anybody else to have it. That's it. That fatalist attitude means that no matter how sweet they talk, no matter how they try to cajole, doesn't matter. At the end of the day, if it ain't us putting that idea out there in our way, using our vision, using our resources, putting forth our efforts, it is doomed to fail, because nothing they put their hands on, Brother Morpheus, is going to ever be to our benefit. Period.
Yep, exactly. And I would just say that. So for people who have that idea, do not think that you can rely on white people still, or that you can come, because what you were teaching Brother Black was how we should have a fatalist idea because we cannot rely on white people. So I'm just saying, I just want people to be cautious of not taking your idea and then circling back to that, thinking that they can use your idea and use it and involve white people. You cannot involve, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And I know some people.
Wait, Morpheus, it's not even that you can't involve them. You can't hope for their approval. You can't think that they're ever going to co-sign it. You can't think they're ever going to back it. You can't think that they're going to ever provide any resources for it. You can't think that they're ever going to back it in any way, shape, or fashion. If they know about it, their whole goal, whether stated or unstated, is to ultimately see you not have it. And that has to be the mindset. This doesn't mean we got to hate. Hate ain't got nothing to do with shit. This just means operate with these motherfuckers with your eyes open. That if there's a way that they can introduce fuckery, they will. Period.
Yep. Exactly.
That's why it's imperative, Brother Morpheus, that you have to find your people. I'm sick of this whole idea that black people gotta have every black person on board with what we trying to do in order to get anything done. That is so far from the truth. It's not. First of all, it's demonstrably untrue, right? You can't. If you tried to build an office building and you had all 40 plus million of us working on that job site, you couldn't get shit done.
Exactly.
You don't need all of us to get anything done to our collective benefit. What you need is the vision. You need the true understanding of what you're operating in and how you're operating. And then you need to commit. You need to execute. You do that, and it don't even matter if it's 2 black people. You're going to benefit all of us.
Exactly. And I would say this too. And again, another thing, I feel like I have to say this because, like you said, our people have so many disagreements about things that they hear. You mention somebody that they don't like or they don't agree with, and then they want to dismiss everything else that comes with it.
Yep.
So I say this again with Brother Neely Fuller. You don't have to agree with everything he says. I don't agree with everything he says.
I don't either, but I agree in the main with the brother. Go ahead, because I know what you're about to drop. Tell these people.
And he talks about how black people are poisonous to each other. And it's true. That's why we have so much toxicity. That's why we have a lot of black people who are, I guess, for lack of a better word, coons. And a lot of them are coons, not just because they want to kiss up to white people so much, but because they've had so many negative experiences with black people. And I say that to say that, or to tie into your point about how we can't sit up here and try to get every black person to be on board with us, because the more black people we bring in, yes, you do need some black people.
Yep.
But more black people you bring in, the higher the likelihood is going to be for conflict
and dissension. Absolutely.
And undermining and sabotage. And we don't have to take this, and then some people will say, how is that a pro-black mentality if you have this mentality about other black people? No, because I understand that we live in a system of white supremacy, and that the system of white supremacy has made black people this way.
That's facts. And not only that, but I think that is the ultimate in pro-black attitude, because what this does is this allows people to advance at the speed they can advance at. This is respecting where people's at, not their points of view. Not every opinion is worthy of respect. I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't respect everybody's fucking opinion. A lot of people's opinions is bullshit, right? So no, I'm not a respecter of opinions. What I am is a respecter of minds. People will see what they see when they see it. And the only way I can expect there to be grace extended to me is to extend grace to them. In other words, fam, I'll agree to not shit on you for having that dumbass idea, even though in my head I might think it's a dumbass idea, right? I won't shit on your idea. Matter of fact, I'll even go as far as to support you in your efforts for it. Because if your idea is successful, no matter how stupid I thought it was, success speaks for itself. I'm going to take my smart idea, throw that motherfucker in the trash, and take up your dumb idea, right? So I definitely want to encourage you to get out there and commit to doing something and trying to make something happen, right? But secondly, it allows for that space for us to actually start doing things that are effective. As it stands now, black people get caught up in what I call analysis paralysis. We want to build and chop and build and chop and build and chop. And that's all fine and dandy. But then the moment you say, okay, we done built, we done chopped, let's pull the trigger. Niggas look at you like, what you talking about, fam? We done all this talking, all this discussion. We got all the whole principles laid out. Everything is straight. Okay, let's do it. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to get my people, whoever they are, to a point where we are done talking, where we start to present some of these ideas to our people as a fait accompli, as a done deal. So that when they talk, they be like, okay, well, you talking, I see you talking, fam, but we living it. So what is you talking about? Like, you can look at the evidence and see what we doing. So why should we be listening to you when we over here doing what we talking about? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and I would say I agree to the most part, but at the same time, we've been in the system of white supremacy for a long time, and there's certain things that we have to understand, and we cannot go along with. Now, again, if you're right, if other people are going to go along with that, good luck to them.
Yeah.
I can't do nothing with it. But at the same time, I can't quite go so far as to say I'm gonna encourage you in your stupid idea, because then if that's the case, then we can keep voting for Joe Biden every time.
Hold up, Morpheus. Hold up, because I feel where you're coming from. But check it out. I can support you in that. That don't mean I have to be a part of that. Right? If you gonna vote for these stupid motherfuckers anyway, you're not where I'm at. You're not my people anyway. That doesn't mean that I want to see anything bad happen to you, but causes have effects, right? I've already said that the people that ain't ready to reboot, nothing I say to them or do to them is going to change anything. Look, fam, I have no doubt that in 2022, there will still be people that have political setups where they're trying to put in a candidate or voting for a candidate that's presented to them. That's still going to happen, whether I want that to happen or not. Now, what I'm trying to do is create an alternative. I'm trying to create an alternative for people that already see that path is a losing proposition for them. If enough of us see it that way, fam, all's the better. But I'm not sitting around even waiting on all black people anymore. I think a lot of the frustration that we experienced, Brother Morpheus, and you tell me what you think about this, in the last few weeks or whatever the case may be, comes from the idea that we spend so much time trying to get other brothers and sisters to see what we see, right? You and I both are content creators, right? How much research you do, bro? I know I do a ton. How much research do you do, right? Trying to put together a presentation to give your people the straight dope, right? To give them the tools, the mechanisms, the weaponry needed to engage white supremacy at every level that they choose to engage it at, only to have them sometimes look at you and act like you didn't even do it.
Exactly.
You feel me?
It's frustrating.
It is hugely frustrating, but understand that it is only frustrating to the extent that you expect that they're going to just magically see what it is that you're laying out for them and jump right on board. Remember, the fatalism isn't just towards white folks. That fatalistic attitude is a fatalism towards everything that you've known as the status quo, including our interactions with other black folk. I actually agree with Dr. Fuller now when he says that to an extent we are toxic to each other, right? That you want to minimize the amount of necessary contacts with your own people. Not that I think our people necessarily hate each other, but that's the how would you say, the path of least resistance, right? It's the go-to. It's the one thing that you can be assured that you can do in this society and nobody will flash on you for it. You find a way to fuck over black people, shit on niggas, ain't nobody gonna gain, ain't nobody gonna talk down on you really because of it. Other black people that got fucked over might, but nobody cares about what they feel or what they think. You feel me? Right? So at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that it's important and imperative to direct your actions towards finding your people first. Right? So you got to have the mental foundations in place, your vision in place, grab your people, and then commit to action. And this is really 3 simple steps that will ultimately create a reboot. And as it creates a reboot for these various entities, these various groups, these various members of our family, so to speak, that will expand over time to as many of us as it will ultimately encompass. But we should not expect that.
Exactly, and I would just say that actually what you're saying is actually why I kind of approach things a lot the way I do, is because like even on my channel, like I'll give warnings like, you know, this is what we're talking about, this is what we're focused on. If you're not focused on that, don't come here. My channel isn't for a large audience. It's meant, I expect it to be. So I'm coming in. I came into my channel with a fatalist mindset.
Yep.
Hey, I know that my topic, my subject matter is not going to be the most popular. And I understand that even among people who are visiting my channel, a lot of them are going to visit to argue with me, which is why I say, hey, look, I'm going to present the information with you and the logic behind it. If you have a problem with it, then go on somewhere else. And if you try to drag me back and make me get into an extended, drawn-out conversation with you about something I know I'm not going to convince you of, I'm just going to block you off my channel because now you're being non-productive and
absolutely.
But that's all my videos, my non-constructive discourse videos. I was like, hey, for those who are actually having questions, I don't want to make people feel like I'm shutting them down just for challenging me or saying anything that disagrees with me. So that's why I gave examples of what's constructive disagreement and what basically what gets you blocked. Because like you said, I don't have time, none of us have time to sit here and go back and forth with each and every person who still ain't gonna get it after I spent 3 hours arguing with you.
Boom. Morpheus, you remember when we was in school, fam, and a teacher would say stuff to you like, a person convinced against their will is of the same opinion still. That shit is true. You could have the most stunning argument. You could have all of your ducks in a row. You could have everything sharp, premise by premise, line by line, and reach the ultimate conclusion. And I guarantee you, there will be at least one Negro who'll be like, yeah, but fam, damn all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you feel me, Morpheus? Damn all that. Like, no, you can't expect that everybody's going to be on board with what you're talking about. Find your people. And those are the people that you put your efforts into. That's the commune that you work to build. And as you demonstrate what it is that y'all are on, people will see that and they will either say, oh yeah, I've been waiting for this my whole life. and they will jump on board, or they'll have some bullshit to say, at which point you can be like, well, hey, there's the dough. Like, the exit's over there. You don't need to argue with us about what we doing. You know what I'm saying? But the key to that, Brother Morpheus, is doing. Is actually constructing, building, doing. That's the part where we seem to get lost in the sauce. We can talk about concepts, ideas, thoughts, emotions, all that all day long, till somebody says it's time to put in your hands, your ass, your resources, your time, your effort. Then you watch a whole bunch of folk fall away, which is why I said that some of my people, some of my tribe is in the chat right now, but a lot may not be. And that's okay. I'm perfectly willing to put the idea out there, to put the plan out there and say, now, can you commit to that? If so, let's do it. If not, stay the fuck away from me or not. But don't argue with me. You can't argue with what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? If what I'm doing is what I'm doing and it's working for me and it's working for the people that's doing it with me, what the fuck we listening to you for? Exactly. Brother Morpheus, hey man.
Oh, go ahead.
No. Go ahead, fam.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I wasn't planning on keeping you long, so that's all. I would just want to add this last thing and close out, and I'll let the next people call in. But if I would just say, I know I do go in on a certain group that I always go in on. But
yep.
As I've said 10 times before, I go in on them because I think that their ideas are dangerous. I don't show up to their channels. I don't troll their pages. I just say what I say on my channel in the hopes that, because I think a lot of people who are reached by that message are people who are very close to understanding the right thing. And it frustrates me that they were so close and yet they have been deviated by foolish ideas. And I just say that to say that that's why I do, because I hear what you're saying about how, we need to let people have their ideas. And I would say I get that, but in my personal situation, when I think something is dangerous, I'm going to speak on it. I'm not going to be on that person directly.
Nah, fam, I expect that. Right, Brother Morpheus, I expect that. If you think an idea or a path is dangerous, I expect you to speak up on it, right? Because danger is one thing, right? Like, if you say to a kid, hey, don't climb a tree, climbing a tree itself inherently isn't dangerous. But now if you're telling them not to climb a tree because there's a whole big ass mass of barbed wire over there that if they fall into, they dead, right? You're going to protect your kid from danger. If you see a danger, you need to speak up on it. Whether people agree with you or not is immaterial, right? So I get where you were coming from in your critiques on this whole bullshit strategy. It was just bullshit, and I'm just gonna keep it a buck. I didn't agree with it from jump. I still don't, but I supported everybody's right to just go ahead and do it. You get where I'm coming from? I stopped arguing with people about it, right? Because it made no sense. It made no sense to argue with them about it. But I think that as the evidence starts to come in and we see just how ineffective really truly it was in the larger scheme of what it is that we're claiming that we're after, I think you'll see that a lot of people will be like, yeah, you know what, damn all that, right? But again, people will see that when they see it. I'm not here to be a partisan for anybody. I'm here to be a partisan for my people, for my tribe, and that's it. So I appreciate you, fam.
Yeah. And I would just add the last thing is that, like I said, I don't do it to necessarily argue with people. That's why people show up on my channel argue with. I just block you because, if you don't see what I'm saying, you're not meant to see what I'm saying. So you being here arguing with me is non-productive. It's counterproductive. That's why I don't go to certain other people's channels and sit up there and argue with them about how they feel. I just say how I feel on my channel. Now, if they want to have a discussion, I'm happy to have a discussion, but I'm not going to initiate and troll and attack.
Right, yeah. I mean, all that whole day of chasing folk down to try to have discussion, man, look, fuck all that sonnetter bullshit. Like, I'm not setting up debates where niggas can sit back and forth and talk about ideas all day. Are we doing some shit? Because if we not doing nothing, all this chopping back and forth is just useless to me at this point, right? Like, our people ain't got time for that shit.
Exactly, and that's why I feel like I don't, like you, I know that you don't go as hard on things as I do, and I respect that because the brother that sees things a different way. It's just like if you are promoting that that's when I say something. But again, at the same time, I'm not going to get into no big drawn out debates. If I have to, I'll just make a channel on my video or make a video on my channel and speak on why I feel this is dangerous, because I do see the value in educating people who don't know, because that's how I learn.
I hear you. No, I'm never going to stop doing that either. What I'm talking about, Morpheus, isn't just... Matter of fact, you'll hear it in the future broadcasts to come. It's more education plus. And I'm not going to go into it now because I want to give you another reason to come back. But we're going into that because you know me, I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't an educator at heart, right? So I'm definitely there to teach people, to educate people. But I got an idea for education plus, and I'm going to run it by the people, and we're going to see what you think about it, fam. So I just want to say, brother, I appreciate you as always, man. Your love, your support, you know what I'm saying? Continue to do the work you do. I support it 100%, as you well know. And anytime, man, give us a call.
All right, brother. I see you, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, fam. Peace. Great call from Brother Morpheus, fam. Yeah, I mean, I used to think that Brother Neely was on some bullshit with that, but nah, he's got a point. And notice what he said. Only get together for something constructive, right? Because what we usually get together for is a bunch of nothing. You rarely see us come together and actually have something to show for the exchange at the end of our interactions. I'm trying to change that moving forward from 2020, rest of 2020, 2021, and moving forward. I don't want to be talking to people. I want to have something to show them, right? So yeah, absolutely. Fam, I know it's getting late. I see the numbers dropping, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I just want to say to everybody, thank you all who participated in the chat. Thanks to everybody that showed me love via the super chat. Fam, y'all the reason why I do everything I do. And the y'all that I'm speaking to know who you are. That same cry that you had in your heart, I've had it. Dr. Black can diagnose your illness because I suffer its symptoms. And I'm here to tell you that the cure is here, at least for us, right? It is time for us to demand that we be empowered and not to wait for people to empower us, but to pick up power, to pick up the tools and the weapons that we've already been given by greater minds than any of. I mean, shit, fam, I wish I had half of the acumen that Frederick Douglass has. I will never be Frederick Douglass, but I can borrow from Brother Frederick. I will never be a Harriet Tubman, but I can borrow from my esteemed ancestress Harriet Tubman. I will never be an Ida B. Wells Barnett, but I can stand on her shoulders and see just as far as she saw and beyond. And it's time for us to do that and actually start doing some shit. And that is coming. So fam, with that, as always, I want to thank you all. I appreciate you all. And as always, I want to wish you all love, peace, prosperity, and power. Real power